Welcome back to Gaming Night. I'm your host, G.A.M.E.R here, and welcome to another review. Today, we're going to be talking about the first game of 2024, at least the first big game of 2024, the one that everyone's playing right now, and that is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Oh man, I just finished this game about 2 hours ago. Funny story, I actually I paid the extra $10 to get the 3 days early access to the game, and I have been playing for pretty much 2 days straight. I haven't played any other game since I've started it, and I've sunk about 20, maybe 18 hours into the game, and I just finished it 2 hours ago, and I specifically last night left off with on the final mission. I was headed towards the final mission, and I was like, you know what? I'll save the final mission until tomorrow. I wake up for work. I wake up at work for I wake up for work around 3:30 a.m. I get there. I start work at 5, right? And I get to work, and it turns out I wasn't scheduled to work today. So I come home, and I play the final hour of the game, and that was about 2 hours ago, and yeah, and so it is now 6:40 a.m. And here we are. So we're doing a review because I just finished the game, and ladies and gentlemen, this is the first big game of 2024. So the question is, how does it stack up? How does it stack up? And I'm really excited to do this review because this is kind of like the first time I'm doing a review before the game even comes out, technically, because I finished it during early access. So it's kind of interesting for me. It's definitely different, and I'm going to try and keep this pace all year long. I want to do reviews within the first week of the game coming out. I know some of them are not going to happen because, like, Final Fantasy and, like, some games I just won't play on the first week it comes out, and then, like, Final Fantasy, those are really long games, so, like, who knows. But let's talk about the game at hand, Prince of Persia and Lost Crown. Now, Prince of Persia hasn't showed up in, like, I want to say over a decade. It has been a long time since we've gotten a Prince of Persia game. They announced the Sands of Time remake, but that is nowhere to be seen. So who knows when that's going to happen. But you know what? Now that I've played this game, spoiler alert, I loved it. We are going to definitely give Sands of Time a try when that happens. It's unreal how much my opinion of this whole franchise has changed after this game. Because, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. I just absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it. I am very impressed. I am very blown away by how much I absolutely loved this game. This is made by Ubisoft, and this is something I don't say almost ever with Ubisoft. Good job. You have delivered what I believe to be a true passion project. Every frame, every area, every mission, every hour of this game, you can tell there was a lot of passion put into this game. Whether it's through its incredible animation, whether it's through its awesome music, whether it's through its amazing gameplay, or whether it's through its pretty good story, it is through and through just a phenomenal game. Just incredible. Absolutely loved it. But let's go ahead and let's get talking about each aspect individually. Now, here's the thing. I'm not even the biggest Prince of Persia fan. I have no relation. I know nothing about the Prince of Persia franchise before going into this game. I mean, I dressed up as him one time for Halloween when I was really, really young, when the live action movie came out with Jake Gyllenhaal. That's as much extent as I go. That is the farthest extent I go. Other than that, I have no correlation with the franchise whatsoever. So I really went into this blind. Now, the thing is they decided to switch it up this time. They decided to switch up the genre and go for a Metroidvania. Now, if you guys know me, Metroidvania is one of my favorite genres. And so, just that got me instantly intrigued in the game, and it got me way more interested than I think I would be normally if it wasn't a Metroidvania. But therefore, I played it, So let's get talking about it. The first thing we got to talk about when it comes to a Metroidvania, and I feel I'm correct me if I'm wrong. If we're talking about a Prince of Persia game, I feel like gameplay is probably the main thing people want to talk about when it comes to this game. And I have to say, this is easily, I mean, maybe not easily. This is debatably the best part of the game. Okay, this is debatably the best part. This is what got me so addicted. This is what got me so in love to the point where I might try to 100% this game, just because I've loved it that much and I'm just that into it. Let's talk about the 2D platforming first. We're talking Ori Will of the Wisp level of platforming. We're talking Hollow Knight level of 2D platforming. It is very, very, very impressive what they are able to do. It is very creative. It is very fluid. There's no parts where I feel like it's just an over excessive amount of platforming. I feel like it's spread out really evenly. There's a lot of sections where it's like, all right, there's a lot of enemies here. There's a puzzle here, or there's a lot of platforming here. I feel like they spread that out really, really evenly and really, really well to the point where when you do the platforming, it is so satisfying and you really are engaged. You're not like I really spent a lot of time. There were some pretty tricky segments within the game where I was like, man, how do I do this? I got to do that. I got to do that. Okay. And then I kept on like trial and error. And I was having a blast doing it. Like there's a lot of games where I'm doing that and I get really annoyed. This game I did not. I was just having an absolute blast. And it's just because it's so good. There's so many abilities like the dash, like the grapple hook, or like whatever you want, the tether, like the time rewind thing. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. The double jumping, you can like grab items with the void, and dude, it's wild what this game was able to do. It really does remind me of Ori and the Will of the Wisp, and I'm not surprised that the platforming is this good, because at the same time, this is made by the same team that made the Rayman Legends and Origins games, which those games are just phenomenal as well. So Ubisoft, let this team cook. They know how to make games. You're doing right by them. You are letting them make what they want to make. In this case, I'm assuming they wanted to make this game because you could just tell they wanted to, and you let them cook. And they did. They were like Gordon Ramsay in that studio, bro. They were crazy. But moving on to the combat, this is my favorite part of the game. The gameplay, the combat specifically, is unlike any other Metroidvania you will find. There have been videos of people figuring out like 40 hit combos. Like they have them juggled in the air for like almost a full minute doing combos. There is no other Metroidvania where you can do this. This is like a fighting game meets a hack and slash Metroidvania. It's just incredible. It is so in-depth. It's like Smash Brothers, where you kind of have to aim in a direction to like hit in a direction. So like you can just click X and do a neutral attack, or you can aim right and do like a forward attack, or you can aim down and do a downward attack, or you can aim up or do an upwards attack, right? It's kind of that. And then once you mix that with like combos like triple click X or double click X and do a jump or do a dash, there's so many variations and variety when it comes to the gameplay. It just makes it so fun, so addicting, so complex, and super in-depth, super detailed. From start to finish, I was just loving combat. There was no point where I thought it got repetitive. There was no point where I was like, okay, I don't really want to fight. There were no points where I decided I'm gonna just skip all the enemies. There was just no points where I was like, I just want to avoid the enemies, because I wanted to fight. It was so fun to do so. It was, dude, it's so good. It is so good. Not only that, you get upgrades throughout the entire game that just make it more and more and more. I mean, the fact that it didn't get repetitive might have to do with that the progression and the layout of the game was done really, really well. There is never a point where you stop unlocking things. Like, honestly, in terms of 2D platforming, you unlock the tether really late in the game, And that is like a really important mobility thing. I mean, you unlock that like to the second to last quest, and that's a really, really important mobility thing. And again, they just never stopped adding things. They never stopped adding things. On top of the combat, you do have a bow, which is really, really awesome. You have a shotgun, which is really, really awesome. You get upgrades throughout for those throughout the entire game. It really is just great. Now, the only thing I wish that they did was your main weapons throughout the entire game are just your two swords, which I get that is like Prince of Persia's thing and everything. I would have liked to see them incorporate like one or two more different weapons, like just being able to switch between weapons, like maybe an axe or maybe like I don't know, like a spear or something like that. I would have liked to see a little bit of variation. Not that I think it ruined the game in any way. I just think it could have been even better than what it was. Like, it's something really simple. I guess it's not simple. It's going to take a lot of work to add in another weapon. It's just something that you would expect from a game like this, but it doesn't necessarily, it's not a bad thing. Like, for what the combat is, I already said it's the best part of the game, and it is like, this is not something that, I'm upset about. It's just something, if I was like, as I am a fan, I am wishing, or like, if there was a sequel, I definitely want this to happen, just because I enjoyed it so much. But yeah, if they could add one or two more weapons, I feel like that would just take it to a whole nother level than what it already is. It is just so good. The pairing system is great. I really have no complaints about the pairing system. The dodging system is just great. The whole time rewind thing is just great. Wow, dude, this game's gameplay is top tier. I'd be shocked if another game came out this year that could exceed the gameplay level that this game has. It is just incredible. But moving on, real quick, I want to touch on the music. I think the music is really well done. Really well done. It is, right, because Prince of Persia is like an ethnic type of game, right? I mean, and I think the music just like, it makes you really feel the vibe of all the areas you're going to. It really makes you feel those high intense moments. It makes you feel those like emotional beats. It makes you feel all the different sound effects. I think the music and audio is done really, really well, and there are some banger like tracks in this game. The main theme I think is really awesome. It's a more memorable main theme in my opinion than what a lot of games have these days. And there was a specific song in the credits produced by 2WEI, which is like a trailer studio, and they make a lot of cinematic music. It is a banger slapper. I think the song is called The Lost Crown from them. It is so good. It's definitely going to be one of my songs of the year easily. Yeah, the music is just a really good addition to the game. Moving on, I think debatably, actually, I will say real quick, there is one critique I have of the game, but it's something that can easily be fixed. I had a lot of audio issues where a lot of times the audio would like cut out, or it would be like kind of delayed, or like it wouldn't happen. Like there were a lot of times where it was like the music was going and then it kind of just like it switched frames and then it like stopped, or it like became really, really dim, and it was kind of just weird. And there was one time where it just felt like it was playing for a scene that happened like earlier, and I was like, interesting. So just a couple of like performance issues in terms of the audio. But that again, that's something that can easily be fixed. But it is something to take into consideration. That if that kind of stuff annoys you, then probably just keep that in mind. But anyway, moving on. Debatably, the second best part of this game outside of combat is like easily the visuals of the game. But I'm gonna be more specific. The animation and cinematics and cutscenes of this game, but specifically animation. Whoa, wow, and how they went crazy. It was straight gas. Oh my, I couldn't believe it. Dude, there are so many times start to finish, even still playing it, like 18 hours in, there are animations that happen where I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I watching? This is epic. It is anime as all ever. It is like, it is super high octane as all ever. It is flashy as all ever. It is colorful. It is sharp. It is detailed. It is artistic as all ever. The animation is crazy, dude. And it happens with a lot of bosses. It happens with a lot of, like, even just your normal. Sometimes when you do a parry, a really dope animation happens. You're like, well, they did not have to go this hard. They did not have to go this hard whatsoever. But they did. And, oh my gosh, dude. It is great. It is just great what they were able to do with the animation in this game. Wow. Just this is something where you can really tell this was a passion project. This is an aspect where you can really tell it was a passion project, because they just put so much effort into it, and I just have to applaud them for that. I just have to. So good. But that being said, you know, the other visuals, like just your everyday like your core graphics. I mean, there are people who say it looks like a 360 game, which, I mean, in some cases, yeah, it's not very detailed in terms of textures. But the thing is, it doesn't have to be. Not every game has to be super realistic. Now, I would say I would have liked to see it be a little more textured and a little bit more just, I don't know, a little bit more layered. But it didn't throw me off whatsoever. It didn't like ruin it. It's really not even a critique. It's just like if they make a sequel, let's upgrade it a little bit. That's really really not a problem whatsoever. But yeah, what I will say is a lot of the backgrounds and a lot of the colors and artistic features of the game make up for it. Real quick, before we get into the final aspect, which is the story, I do want to go back to the gameplay. I think that they did a really good job at filling this game in with a lot of things to do. There's a lot of in-depth systems and formats within the game, like the amulets. I think that was a really awesome addition. Like, there's like abilities, which isn't really that. I mean, that's in most things. And then there's like forges, and there's like stores, and there's a lot to this game. And they even added into this new feature where you could take like screenshots of places on the map and like save it for later. So if you forget like what's there, or you unlock something later and you need to be like, all right, so where do I go now? If you see that picture, like, oh, I remember that. You can like take pictures and it shows up on the map, and it's like, oh, that's really, really cool. I will say I did not use that near as much as I think I should have. But when I did, I'm like, man, that's really, really cool. That's just such a cool idea. I think a lot of people have been touching on that, and for good reason. It is really neat. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started about the story, because here's the thing. Don't take this the wrong way. It is the weakest part of the game. But as you've heard me say, all the other aspects are top tier. In my opinion, this is, like, if I was giving a rating on just story alone, I'd give it like an 8 out of 10. It's still a really good story. It is still a really good story. I really enjoyed a lot of beats and a lot of moments within the story. My biggest issue is I feel like they didn't focus on any one thing enough, right? I think they did a lot with Varm. They did a lot with Anahita. They did a lot with some of the immortals, and Hassan. They did a lot with them, but I feel like they could have done so much more, especially with a lot of the other immortals in the game. I feel like we could have gotten backstory, a little bit more of them, rather than just like see what they do, work with them a little bit, and then they come after you, and then you have to fight them. That's kind of it. But they have like great lines, and I really liked a lot of the immortals, but we didn't really get enough of them, I feel like. And then like I think Varm, he got the most out of like every character outside the main character, and I still feel like even then they didn't do enough with him. I just felt like they're missing stuff within the story to make it that really phenomenal story, because the the plot points and the themes that they have set up here are really great, and a lot of the emotional beats you feel because they are really good. And I think the premise of the story is really good. I think the whole premise of the world and area is also really good. I was not expecting time to be a big thing within this game, but it's huge. It's a huge part of the game's story, and I think it's really cool. You find other timeline versions of yourself. You find people who are younger, who are older. You go do this thing for an hour. You see somebody, you go do a thing for an hour, you see them again, they've been like, where have you been? You're like, I literally just got back. And they're like, it's been 30 years. And you're like, what? Like, it's really, really cool, but I don't think they spend enough time on any of that. Now, granted, it is because it is a Metroidvania and it's all gameplay focused, meaning they're not going to have a ton of cutscenes, which I can appreciate. But I do think there should have been more. And that's really my only complaint about the game, is I feel like the story was just missing that little bit extra to make it a huge standout, like, great, phenomenal story, because there is a lot there that I really do appreciate and love. But like I said, I've spent about 18 to 20 hours playing the game, and I'm like 71% through the game, right? So I've done some side quest stuff. You finish like the main story. The main story is like 45% of the game, and I'm like at 71%. I've done a bunch of the side content because I just love it that much. I'm playing so much of it, and yeah, it's just really, really good. It is a game that I 100% strongly recommend for anybody. Even if you're not a Metroidvania fan, it has fun platforming, fun gameplay, great music, a pretty solid story. And if you are a Metroidvania fan, 100% play it. 100% play it. If you are not a Prince of Persia fan, play it, because I was not. I was not a Prince of Persia fan. Now I am, because it was that good. And if you are a Prince of Persia fan, play it. 100%. Play it. It's one of those games I feel like almost anybody can enjoy and will enjoy if they just give it a try. The problem is it is kind of going to be a little bit of a more niche-er. I wouldn't say it's niche, but it's niche-er than most things. So getting them to play it is going to be a little tough, but I do recommend it 100%. It is just so good of a game. But that's going to do it. I'm really sad that this is kind of the end. You know, I am going to do a gameplay video of this game. And, you know, just because we got to do some gameplay, but I'm really sad that this is kind of the end, because I want more, and it's so good. I hope we get DLC. I don't know if we would, but yeah, this is it. End of the review. I mean, I'm done with the main story. Yeah, we're moving on. It was such a great experience, such a good game. 100% would recommend. It's definitely in my top 5 Metroidvanias, and I would even say it's probably now in my top 50 games of all time. I'm going to go ahead and clock it in at a very, very good 9.2. 9.2. Like I said, there are a few things that could be a little touching up, or a few things I feel like they could have done a little more on, especially the story. But for the most part, it is such a great experience. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, definitely leave a like, leave a comment section down below provided. What did you guys think? Are you playing it? Do you plan on playing it? Do you play any other Prince of Persia games that you think I should play? Let me know. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. G.A.M.E.R out. Peace.